Hey, welcome in, my friends. Boy, do I have some exciting and kind of scary news for you, the consumer, packed into this episode of my real estate news and updates. I'm going to touch on a couple topics here as far as local news and national news as far as inventory and that kind of thing. But then I will touch on the big one that's going to affect you, the consumer, and how you will actually transact this coming year really soon here. So just before we get into that, I have a value proposition for you. I know how obnoxious it can be searching for a home and registering for sites only to receive hundreds of calls from agents from all over the world or wherever they come out of. So I'm going to offer you a trouble-free shopping experience. I have my personal website. It's www.fullerliving.group. It's only seen by me, so I'll end up reaching out to you. We can have a quick conversation. You say, Edward, I only want to shop for homes. I'm not exactly in the market just yet. Fine by me. Go ahead and shop. So as we kind of get into it, looking at national news, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Obviously, rates is always, this is pretty even across the whole national spectrum, and it's closely tied to this 10-year bond. And this thing's been pretty pesky lately. It just doesn't want to go down. And there's a spread difference. Normally that thing's anywhere from like 1 or 2% difference from the 30-year fix, which is your mortgages, to this bond, this 10-year T-bill. This thing keeps pressing up in that 4.2. Well, you're like 4.2, that means we should have rates of like 5.2 or 5.5. Well, we have an abnormal spread, which is putting us way up there. And that's due to some of the economic stresses and uncertainty in the market. As soon as that thing starts to go down, we'll probably start to see the actual numbers of mortgages go down. We have seen a little bit of uptick in actual purchases. This is according to the U.S. Mortgage Brokers Association. The last couple of months have actually been a steady increase, and these are actual just applications. So whether those turned into sales or not entirely sure there. Nationally, inventory is relatively flat. There has been a couple increases. This is a good one. The realtor.com, they actually did their top 10, hottest markets, or the 15 housing markets that are hottest and coolest. Thank goodness Salt Lake did not make the list. Actually, the top 5 is Manchester, New Hampshire, Rochester, New York, Springfield, Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Cambridge. So those are the top ones. And the coldest markets are Huntsville, Beaumont, Arthur, Texas, Salem, Decatur, Alabama, and then Punt, Florida. Go figure. So obviously we're still seeing, some activity. Rates are still crazy high. If we look at Salt Lake itself, inventory, the amount of homes available has still been relatively even. We have seen a little bit of an uptick, but this is the one that surprises me the most, is looking at the home prices. So even with high rates that we're currently having, current date price has gone up almost 2% in some areas. This is for the whole state. This is the average. But if we look at inventory, we've also had a huge increase of about 13.4. So we're seeing houses hit the market. We're seeing activity move up. I've personally seen homes where they hit the market within 3 days, they have 15 or so offers. So that's kind of scary because we still don't have that many homes available. We still only have roughly at any given point maybe 2.5 months of supply. And that's important because that's what's called the absorption rate. So if nothing else was to come online, there's only 2.5 months worth of homes. So a balanced market is right in that 6 months of supply. So we're well below that. So we've still got a lot of ground to cover. And actually, if you look back historically, kind of off topic, we've been underbuilding for the last 10 years. So if we were to catch up, we'd need 34,000 homes to be built really quick in the Salt Lake County area. So like I said, kind of surprising. House prices are going up. Inventory is increasing a little bit, but not a whole lot. If we look at solds, if we just go by the whole state here, if we look at the solds, right here. So average sale year to date, up 4.5%, or actually no, quarter to date, we're up 4 or 5%. Month to date, we're up 7% over last month. So we're definitely increasing. And obviously that is due to a little bit warmer time of year. We're starting to get into those summer months where people are wanting to shop. I expect that to continue to grow. I'd be curious to see what happens kind of the later of the year when we see those rates start to possibly drop. We have obviously the Fed did come out and say that we probably will see some type of rate cut. Haven't seen it exactly yet, but I imagine if it does come in the later part of the year, we're going to have a little bit of a rush. Yeah, average days on market actually went up. And I believe I call these market rejection homes, overpriced or not very well advertised. I think there's still a lot of those lingering in the market. That's why that is continuing to go up, but that's actually not a bad thing. We like to see houses on market for a little bit more. That means the inventory will stabilize. So the next thing that I wanted to touch on, and this is something that's going to affect buying in the future. I didn't really want to talk about it, but I feel it's important to just at least touch on this topic. There was a lawsuit with NAR and sellers. They were claiming that they were price fixing and colluding with big box brokerages to fix commissions. The NAR just recently settled for a rather large sum of, I believe it was like $441 million. And inside of that stipulation, they stated that agents or brokerages can no longer advertise buyer agent commissions. So why is that important? So the way it has been done is the seller typically will offer the buyer agent, or your buyer's agent, some type of compensation in order to make sure that everybody is represented. Now, this is kind of going in the path of, okay, well, if we can't advertise it, it could possibly remove it altogether to where now you, the consumer, are having to pay even more out of pocket in an already inflated environment to get representation. Now, I'm not saying that you need an agent, but it is nice to have somebody that is very fluid and understands the nuances that are necessary to actually get you a really great deal and negotiate on your behalf. So there's a lot of benefit, to sellers offering this, allowing the, especially first time home buyers where maybe you guys don't have a lot to cover. So I'm curious to see how this pans out. It's definitely going to affect the market. It's definitely going to affect how you guys actually will purchase homes here in the future and sell homes. I'm still going to recommend that my sellers offer a buyer's agent compensation because it widens the buyer pool. And it also helps bring more people in, clearly. But I'm really curious to see how this shakes out. We'll obviously follow it closely, but it's definitely something you should be aware of, because if you're buying after June 1st, you could possibly see some instances where you might be liable to pay for your buyer's agent. I almost didn't finish the sentence there. So, well, that's all I have for you guys. So hopefully you really enjoyed that. I feel like there's a lot of information in there. If you want to talk more about one of those topics, feel free to reach out to me. My information is definitely below. Stay tuned to the channel because I'm always bringing new information. I'm going to cities and interviewing mayors and all kinds of cool stuff, and even talking with some local entrepreneurs. So that's all I have for you, and stay tuned because I'm going to show you my houses of the week.